Live from Studio A, WTLK, The Thunder.
Hail Thunder Faithful, thanks for taking some time out from watching the Avengers Endgame Blu-ray over and over again to check into WTLK. But won't be talking much about Endgame, of course, even though while I was cleaning up Studio A on Saturday, I had it going on the TV because that's just what you do. But no, I'm here to talk about Batman Hush, one of the most famous Batman graphic novel stories ever, is finally a DC animated movie now, which DC animated movie can only mean good news, at least for the most part in this case. So yeah, this past Tuesday, Hush landed on the DC Universe app after coming out on August 6th on digital and Blu-ray in those stores. So I finally got a chance to watch Hush, and I mean, for the most part, it's pretty good. You know, DC can do a shared universe with animated movies, at least, and it's proved that because there's even like some name drops to like the Death of Superman, Rise of the Superman animated movies that came out earlier this year, and also them just pretty much using most of the same voice actors. Though, two things I found interesting, because Harley Quinn is in this movie, and Tara Strong is a voice in this movie, but Hendon Welch, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, plays Starfire in like Teen Titans Go, and she's also done a few iterations of Starfire and has also voiced some Marvel animated stuff. She's Harley Quinn, and Tara Strong just voices a reporter. I mean, okay, welcome to the Harley family, I guess. That's just the weirdest thing to me to have Tara Strong in a movie and Harley in a movie, but not have Tara voicing Harley in the movie. But whatever. Also, I noticed in the credits that both Batgirl and Poison Ivy were voiced by Peyton List, and Peyton List was the final form of Poison Ivy. I'm just going to pause for a second so you can make your own Dragon Ball Z jokes. And yeah, so I checked IMDb because I was just like, oh wow, she's voicing two characters. And sure enough, she did voice Poison Ivy, as she should. But there's another Peyton List out there that's like 20 years old, completely different person that voiced Batgirl. I don't know, I just thought that was some little interesting stuff that I discovered while looking at credits and IMDb and all that. But yeah, the movie itself is really good. Some people that have actually read Hush will probably have a problem with the beginning and the end. I'm not sure if I have a problem with it or if I'll just take it with the perspective of, different interpretations. I mean, especially the ending and who Hush turns out to be is different. And yeah, I don't know. I recommend checking out Hush at least once, making up your mind, seeing if you like the changes or not. Also, in the last little bit of comic book news, Legion's series finale has ended, and it ended pretty well, I would say. Maybe it ended about as well as Fox Marvel properties will end at this point, and maybe how the other properties should have ended, I think. So yeah, thank you, Legion, for an entertaining yet confusing and trippy but still well written few years. Also, Krypton, the show about Superman's grandfather, Segel, that has ended his second season, and then the next day, Sci-Fi straight up canceled it, which is a bummer because I really like that. And also, we finally got live action Lobo, which they were initially planning a sort of spin-off series for Lobo, and I believe that's been canceled now. Also, yeah, and the second season ended with General Zod and assorted deep-induced sleep after reigning over Krypton and being thwarted by his parents, Seg and Lyta. And also there was teasers for Apocalypse. I don't know if we would get some Darkseid or any of the New Gods in the third season, but it's not the first time DC was just teasing Apocalypse stuff and then just pulled away. And I'm not counting Steppenwolf making an appearance in Justice League as them having given us an Apocalypse thing. No. No. Sorry, not going to be able to do it. In the Pod Family side, History Comic Books released another Classics episode on 30 Days of Night, which I've been meaning to check out for ages, and I'm not just meaning the graphic novel, I mean the movie too. Yeah, I know. I'm embarrassed myself. So, Thunder Talk is still rolling along nicely. Also, you can hear our sweet, sexy voices in the upcoming ESO DragonCon Khan report, where we talk about what we're most looking forward to with DragonCon. And yep, I still stand by what I said. I'm looking forward to seeing the stories come to life because, you guys know the people I hang out with and have been hanging out with for pretty much the whole damn 2010s, basically. And, they go off to DragonCon, I'm off, either being stuck somewhere I don't want to be or working late and then sitting at a bar, the bars, half paying attention to college football. So classify that under somewhere I don't want to be. But no, this time I'll be at DragonCon and still hopefully catching some sweet, sweet college football and NXT UK Cardiff and the Falcons' final preseason game. Because we'll be at an ESO meet and greet that Thursday night. And guess whose local market we're going to be in? Also, the other thing you can find our Sweet Thunder voices on will be on the ESO Patreon. Coming soon, an ESO riff tracks thing on the 1986 movie Back to School, starring Rodney Dangerfield and Robert Downey Jr. Yes, we get to see Iron Man in his very early days sporting a very, I don't know, it's, I say Captain Marvel, but the hair looks more like if we found Tony Stark with the Morlocks, maybe. Oof, take that X-Men reference to the bank, huh? So yeah, you can find our voices, and along with issue 12, and we're aiming to have an issue 13 out before said DragonCon. Alright, so wrestling news, because yeah, we talk about almost nothing but wrestling on this show. Not a whole lot. SummerSlam Fallout Week. The Fiend didn't show up because their plans are you just don't know when he's going to show up, and he's not just going to show up like every Raw building some pissant storyline and then see you at the next pay-per-view. Nope, they're going to use him when you never know. So this is exciting. Also, I just found that the Fiend's mask and gloves are on www.shop.com because why not? But I was just like, I have to get this limited edition Becky Lynch the Man Funko Pop collectible. Sorry. I mean, whatever. I'm planning on cosplaying the Fiend next Halloween, so I guess sometime early next year I'll get the mask and gloves and just get an even better heads up on my Halloween costume for 2020 as opposed to last second, like last year. Super last second. Talking about the Harley costume, which was still a killer. Or, I think I'm pretty well ahead of schedule with collecting my stuff for this year's cosplay costume, especially since I'm giving it a test run and working out the kinks at DragonCon. But you'll see those pictures on Facebook in like 2 weeks, I'm almost certain. So enough about Halloween costumes, even though, I don't know, we can talk about Halloween on this show. I mean, it's about to be that time. And oh my god, the Woodruff Road Walmart is fucking stacked with fall stuff. Like pumpkin treats and fall branded candies, and they're slowly taking down the back to school stuff and setting up harvest decorations. And oh my god, I'm so excited. Anyway, so yeah, back to wrestling stuffs. We're leading up to Clash of Champions, and they're bringing back the King of the Ring tournament, which if you watched wrestling like way back when, like I know most of you have, you remember King of the Ring, and that helped sort of launch championship careers of uh, Harley Race, rest in peace, Stone Cold Steve Austin. In fact, that's where Austin 316 came from when he went King of the Ring. He's like, Austin 316 said Stone Cold just kicked your ass. Triple H, Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, like so many people who turned out to be multi-time champions and Hall of Famers were King of the Ring. So pay attention. And the bracket for this King of the Ring, which the tournament begins this Monday on Raw, and it's also separated between brands because I guess they've kind of cooled it with the whole wild card thing after going crazy with it the last few months, and they're more obeying / being subtle with the whole brand crossover, brand split thing. So pay attention. On the wrestling side of the bracket, we'll start out with Cesaro versus Samoa Joe, Ricochet versus Drew McIntyre, Cedric Alexander versus Sami Zayn, and The Miz versus Baron Corbin. Yes, we had like a month and a half break from Baron Corbin. Breaks over. Time to get back to work with dealing with his ass. On the SmackDown side, we had Kevin Owens versus Elias, which they subtly set up nicely with the whole special guest enforcer and Shane McMahon story thing. Ali versus Buddy Murphy, which anybody that's watched 205 Live the last couple years will most certainly enjoy. That old rivalry getting renewed after Buddy Murphy made his TV debut on SmackDown last week and had a match with Roman Reigns that people or hardcore wrestling fans are admitting was actually really good. I was personally excited because I like both. Chad Gable versus Shelton Benjamin. That's just dripping with old school. And Apollo Crews versus Andrade, which is another storyline they were subtly setting up for us to come into the King of the Ring tournament with. And final little bit, Natalya came out on Raw last week and she was talking about her match with Becky the other night and talking about this being the 1-year anniversary of her father, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, passing away. And she was in the middle of talking, and then somebody's music came on. Who the hell would interrupt Natty, you ask? It's the legit boss herself, Sasha Banks. She's back. She hasn't been seen literally since WrestleMania. She's gone on a little sabbatical to figure some stuff out. And now she's back. And she came in all purple hair and all, coming in. And, she was giving Natty a hug. And then she started beating the shit out of Natty. And she took off her purple hair because it was just a wig. And now she has very blue hair. And also, Becky came out to defend her still friend / former opponent. Might still be opponent, I don't know. And Sasha beat the shit out of her fellow 4-horsewoman mate too. So yeah, Sasha Banks is back, and she is some kind of evil. Oh, and guess what? Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross defended their women's tag team titles against the Kabuki Warriors. And I'm going to end it on there. So good night, everybody.